Because I think we'll make a start. Hopefully, I'm recording this. If I could ask everyone apart from James and myself to be on mute, that would be great. James, you can unmute yourself. uh,
Great, there we go.
that would be great, just so we don't have any sort of background noises interfering at all. That's great. Um, Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Why I've set this session up, at the end of our rider session, James came up to me and mentioned that he works in AI and would love to put on a session to help us as Rotarians get a better understanding of how to use AI technology to benefit Rotary. As many of you would also know, one of the things that's been coming out of Rotary International lately is they've been pushing for clubs to use innovative ideas, etc., trying to embrace AI technology, which some of us have been doing to various degrees of success. So that's what we've got put together. We've got a little presentation that I will just go through with a few things that RI have brought out for us, with a couple of examples as well of how we can use AI to our advantage. And then James, who is by far more of the expert on this, has got a few more examples and good practice for us. So I will now share my screen and we'll start tonight's show. So, so as I say, thank you all ever so much for joining us tonight. Um, as I mentioned just a second ago, RI have established some guidelines for us to use. Those of us who want to use AI technology, these can be downloaded from My Rotary. I think it's a sort of 2 or 3 page booklet. What I've tried to do here, and what I will do is I'll make sure these slides are available at the end to everyone who's here tonight. But what I've done, we've just tried to sort of summarize some of the key points from the sessions. Um, and as always with Rotary these days, they do remind us to use AI responsibly, ethically, and in alignment with Rotary's mission and values. One of the things that we must be very wary of with using AI is we should use it to process or manipulate sensitive information such as personal data, donor information, confidential club or district records. And James will explain a bit more about that later on, about how AI can actually use that without us knowing. As
Mhm.
always, this is part of the sort of Rotary brand guidelines. We should also make sure we don't use AI to manipulate Rotary logos or Rotary marks, as it does violate the Rotary brand guidelines. But there are some ways we can actually get around that, and I'll show you a very simple way to get around that in a short while. We also need to be transparent with our use of AI. AI generated content should be reviewed by people beforehand because certainly when I've tried using it in my own professional basis, it's not always accurate. So don't treat it as gospel that anything you get out of AI is going to be 100% right. So make sure you have a look at it before you share it to the wider public and make sure it avoids bias. Um, so and also be transparent about where you've used AI. And again, something else it mentions AI should augment human decision making and promote environmental sustainability and advance the areas of Rotary's focus through responsible and fair practices. The main things, and again, I'm sort of summarising from the guidelines here, and I think James will touch upon this in more detail a bit later. But we need to, or members may use AI tools for non-confidential public-facing work. So you can use it for social media posts, helping to write public newsletters or event invitations, flyers, helping to present presentations, like I've done here today, analyzing public available data. And again, I'll show you an example of that in a minute. Generating creative ideas for projects and outreach, which again ties in with using some of that public available data and translating public or non-confidential content into other languages. Do not input private or confidential or sensitive information into AI tools. Again, James will cover this in a lot more detail later on and explain the pitfalls with this. But make sure you don't put in personal data such as names, contact details, uh, financial records, full grant applications, that sort of thing. We don't put in any sort of proper data into it, and James will explain more about that later. Uh, and again, we mentioned just now about the use of Rotary's logos. Do not upload Rotary's logos or branded content into AI. Certainly, those of you who may have used AI in the past, when you've tried to create files, you may find that some of the logos, if you've uploaded a logo, what sometimes comes out is not necessarily correct. So be very careful about that. Do not use AI to create Rotary branded logos, graphics, or other trademark material. Do not generate content that mimics a specific individual's likeness without their permission. And basically, like all our public image stuff, follow Rotary's brand guidelines to create your club or district materials for flyers. Now, what they actually say in their guidelines is you can add your club or district logo to the material you create afterwards. And I'll show you a great example of what you can do in a second about this. So, as I just mentioned, what Rotary International says, you can upload your own club logo or district logo afterwards. So this is just a very simple example of what you can do. For my own club, they've got an event coming up shortly. They wanted the design for the front menu cards. So on the left is what was actually created through AI. But when we actually put it through the AI, we actually asked it to leave a blank space at the top of the screen so we could then just upload that image into Microsoft PowerPoint and then just copy and paste the club logo into the blank space at the top and then save that as a picture file. Very simple, a couple of clicks, and you've got your logo, you've got your flyer or your menu card in this instance with the correct logo. Very simply done, and it's keeping to the brand guidelines. And something else you can do, this is using like the some of the public data that is out there, which you can use. And this can be very interesting, and I do encourage you all to, where possible, try and put this in afterwards to see what it comes out with. It does help if you know your club's makeup, so the various sort of skills, vocations, etc., average sort of age of the club. Because what you can do is you can use it to create a community needs assessment. So this is what I've done, and again, you'll get these slides afterwards, so I'm not expecting you to go through it, and I'm not going to read everything through it, but this is what I put through for a rough idea of what my club's makeup is. Based in North Plymouth, club size, roughly what the oldest member is, what our youngest member is, average age, and some of the skills. And I also put in some of the projects and events that the club have done over the last few years. I then just said, from that description, being based in North Plymouth, can you please help to determine a community needs assessment for my club based on the makeup of the club? And it came up with pages and pages of things. So it said there are several things that are likely to be relevant to the club members' skills and locations, etc. And again, I won't read through all these, but you can see these just looking at on the screen here. So this one is to do with social isolation and loneliness, because several of our members have worked or do work in the care sector. Youth development. So again, looking at things like RIDA, Young Citizen Awards, mock interviews, which Rotary Club has done in the past. And it was great with this one because I actually delved into it further and I actually said on the youth side, can you come up with a more specific project? And it came up with what it called the £100 challenge. It said, give small teams of young people £50 to £100 and a challenge. Use this money to make a positive difference to your community, and they have to do various things with it. And it said in the end, it could accumulate in a North Plymouth Young Community Leader Award. Now, I can't see Paul Crossman's face on the screen at the moment, but I'm sure he's smiling because does that sound familiar to us? The Young Apprentice Challenge. So ChatGPT actually came up with something which many of us are actually really lucky to do. He also came up with ideas for financial well-being projects, community safety and crime prevention with some projects there which we could do. Environmental improvements. So again, things like tree planting, which again is something which Michael is looking into. Being 50 years old this year, we're actually looking to plant 50 trees. Community bulb planting. Again, does that sound quite familiar? For crocus corns. Some of us in our district, and indeed those of us outside of the district, may have actually received notification that orders for crocus corns are due in the next few days for planting to promote Rotary's efforts towards end polio. Litter picking, again, something which many clubs are actually getting involved with these days. Supporting care homes with projects, music and reminiscence programs, very similar to what we've done in the past in Rotary with things like Repod. So again, it's giving us ideas of what we could do, some of which some clubs already do, some clubs may have heard of, but it's food for thought there. Health and wellbeing, walking groups, again, that's something which my club used to do, I haven't done for a number of years. Dementia awareness talks, mental health awareness events. So again, things that some clubs have done, other clubs, again, it's things which we could easily do. Growing communities, social networks, so on and so forth. And then actually prioritise these projects, suggesting various things. Rider Plus, for instance, is saying with the youth, concentrate on perhaps trying to get more rider candidates. I can see James Smiling being a rider alumni himself this year. Pride in North Plymouth Environmental Programme. So what you've seen here, in effect, is actually just a snippet of what it actually came out and gave me. So just putting in some details about the club makeup and the location of where the club is based, you can come up with some great ideas for community needs assessments. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pass over to James. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to let James take over for a while. And James is going to show you a bit more of AI in practice.
Lovely. Thank you for that, Darren. Hey, everyone. While I get my slide up, I'd love just a little bit of input from you guys before I get started. I'd love if some people could put in the chat or call out what kind of experience level have you guys got in AI? Have you heard about these tools? Have you used those tools? Just so I can get some feedback or some input about where we're starting.
Can you assume with me, James, I'm in the basement on this?
Perfect. That's exactly where I've pitched this at. Thank you for that, Paul. Anyone else?
I've used it a bit for images, and I did use it actually to put together our strategy, our club strategy.
Okay, thank you for that, Lynn.
That was useful.
I'm mainly with Paul.
With Paul. All right. Thank you, Susan.
Yeah,
I think that's best described as in the dark.
No.
Yeah. It's the same here. I appreciate it. So I'm obviously got its uses, but it's actually not knowing what to do with it. So that's what I need to know.
Great. All right. Perfect. So hopefully you guys are in for a treat. Can everyone see my presentation?
Yeah.
The first slide?
Yeah.
I can't see you guys, so I'm going to have to...
Yes.
Great. All right. So I've got about 30 minutes here to talk with you and talk at you. I'm going to start out from basics, assuming you've got no knowledge of that, and I'm going to hopefully walk you through to the end where you'll be able to work with these tools like ChatGPT, like Claude, like Gemini, maybe tools you've heard about, how to use them safely, how to use them efficiently, and how you can use them practically. So let me just do a quick introduction. I'm a Bristol student studying engineering. I was a rider candidate for 2026, grew up in Plymouth, and I've been building with AI for about 2 years at the moment. And I've recently started teaching people. And a bit of an appeal to authority here. I recently won an AI international competition. I got a 12-week funded course starting in September. That's going to be awesome. So I seem to know something about these things, and I'd like to share that with you today. So let's give some motivation to this. Why use AI at all? recently I got on a phone call with a volunteer and I asked about what sort of work you guys were doing to prepare for your Santa sleigh. And I was shocked to hear that he was spending 16 hours a week on things like emails and spreadsheets on the build up to this. And I looked at that and I thought that is complete thievery. That is stealing so much time from you guys that could be spent with volunteers in the community, talking to people. So I want to give that back to you hopefully in the next 20 minutes. So by the end of the session, I'm going to show you how to navigate the UI of ChatGPT, how to talk to it, how to get a useful answer back. I'm going to show you how to set it up once, so you don't have to keep explaining yourself every time you talk to it. And then I'm going to share at the end a couple of rules that you need to know to keep the club out of trouble. And then at the end, we've got about 20 minutes at the end for Q&A. So what actually is AI? You know, you probably heard things on the news. AI is going to take our jobs. It's going to ruin society. But what actually is it? What is the latest technology? Well, let's clear the decks first. What is AI not? Okay, so a few assumptions people have when they think about AI. Some people assume it's a search engine that talks to you. It's a bit like Google, or that it's something that does jobs for you, or it feels a bit like cheating, but that's not what it actually is. So in actuality, AI is something that can be a very good first drafter. It can be something that can be used as like a thinking partner, but at the end of the day, it's a tool. Everything that it outputs, you assign your name to, because it can't be held accountable. So that's why it's really important to review everything that comes out of it. So everyone here is familiar with WhatsApp, right? So if you want to think about the latest AI, you can think of it as like WhatsApp, but talking to a very well-read stranger on the end. You type messages to it and it can type messages back. And it knows all the books in the world. It's read all the Wikipedia articles, but it knows nothing about you. It can talk to you endlessly. You can ask for as many changes as you'd like, but its memory of you is contained to that WhatsApp chat. It can only know what you exchange in messages. So let me show you the application that you will use. Let me load that up. All right, can everyone see ChatGPT on my screen?
Yeah.
Lovely. So when you load up a tool like ChatGPT, like Claude, like Gemini, whatever tool you're using, you're going to have a few things. You're going to have a chat box here in the middle. So you can type into this. Ignore the left-hand screen for now. I'm just going to focus on the chat. So you can type into it like a WhatsApp group. So you could say, hello, how are you? What are you? And it will shoot back a question. What can you do? So here's some sample things which it says it could do. It can explain things, research, help with writing, programming, brainstorm, those sort of things. But generally, when you guys are doing work, you guys are like working with things like spreadsheets, with like files, PDFs, right? If you guys got like spreadsheets where you track things.
In some cases, yes.
Yeah. So next to this little chat interface, you've got this plus button here. And all this allows these tools to do is to see information in those files. So so for example, it's gone, oh, that's brilliant. Presentations. Well, it seems my lovely example has disappeared. So for example, you can upload this lovely, lovely image of me Pretend this is a spreadsheet, and you can ask it to make changes to it, edit it, and you can also dictate to it with this little microphone button here. So if you're someone who prefers to think out loud and talk with it, that is a really useful way to talk, because I don't know about you, but I'm a really like talky person. I need to talk out loud to understand things. So what about this left-hand bar here? What have we got? What's this doing? So on the left-hand side, you've got a library. What's that? That is just a place where you can upload documents and images, like a Google Drive. You can put things in there and you can reference them. And we've got another thing called plugins here. What's a plugin? What is that? Why is that useful? Well, what kind of tools do you guys work in every day? Do you guys work in Gmail? Do you guys work in Outlook? What kind of tools are you in?
To be honest, James, some of us use Gmail, some use Outlook, some perhaps use Google Drive for some of the documents. So it really varies, to be honest.
Anyone use something like Canva?
I don't
use Canva,
even
Lynn?
know what it is.
Canva.
Yes, I use Canva.
You use Canva, Lynn. Can you tell us what Canva is?
It's a design tool. It's for creating images and posters and flyers and logos and almost anything, really. Anything that needs an image. It's useful.
Yeah, I really.
You're on mute.
Thank you for that. Sorry about that. All right. So imagine you've got a USB cable and you want to connect to computers. If you're connecting to computers, you use a USB cable. But what if you want to connect to programs? What if you want this model to be able to see and look at your Canva designs? What if you want it to read your emails? What if you want it to respond to emails? The way you do that is with a plugin. So that's quite a lot of what I've just given you. So let me just summarize. The main thing is a chat. You talk to it with language. You can add documents with a little plus. You can talk to it with a dictaphone. And you can connect it to your apps. So when most people are using ChatGPT, quite a lot of them don't have an account. Like they just log on to the website and talk to it, that's a fine way to do it, but you lose a lot if you don't have an account. You lose memory. It won't remember any facts about you. You'll be starting from scratch over again, and you'll lose an important feature we'll come back to later, called the projects feature. And that is where you really start to get a lot of use out of this. So it's completely free, by the way. An account costs nothing, and you can delete it whenever you like. Is that making sense so far? It's a lot. Have I gone too quickly over something?
So far, James.
We all good all around? Thumbs up? Great. So how do we talk to AI? Do we talk to it like a human? Do we talk to it like an employee? Do we talk to someone like it's junior or senior? This is how I would suggest you talk to AI. So if you wanted to hand a message or a task over to a volunteer, you need to talk to ChatGPT like they could do the job without asking a single question to you. And what I mean by that is you need 5 things. So when you're talking to it, you need to tell it who you are. So you need to tell it the club you're part of, the town, and your part in it, your role. What you want, the goal. What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to write a Facebook post? Are you trying to write an email? Are you trying to look at a spreadsheet? And then you need to tell it what it needs to know. So those are details only you have. They may be deadlines, they may be project schedules, they may be how you like to do things. And then you need to tell it how you want that back. So for example, if you're writing a social media post, you need to tell it, I want it under 150 words in British plain English, because these things will speak American to you and not British English. You need to tell it to speak warm. And then the most important thing, which is what makes it so much different than talking to a human, is you have to tell it what not to do. So if you've got an employee or you've got a volunteer, you don't need to tell them to not go lie and make up facts and make up deadlines and make up dates. You don't need to do that, right? You just assume there's some sort of base knowledge that, okay, we're not going to lie. AI is not like that. It will hallucinate. It will make up things in an attempt to try to help you. And in doing so, be incredibly unuseful. So if you're writing, for example, a Facebook post, tell it, do not put dates in the Facebook post. Do not invent, I don't know, names. Don't invent dates, don't invent locations, because it will. That part is most important. And that's the biggest difference when you're talking with AI. They're getting better. As the models get better, you might have to do this less, but for now, you still do. So here's an example of a real job that I did that's fit into this framework. I'll just give you a quick second to read over that. Cool. All right. And then once you've written that lovely little prompt, that little starter, that little opening conversation, what you then need to do is go back and forth with the machine, because it's not a vending machine, it's a conversation. So if it takes an output and you don't like it, you tell it, make it shorter. Take that data out, make it more formal. You work with it, because at the end of the day, the judgment is yours. Your judgment that you have with it. So if everyone's up for it, I'd like everyone to have a quick go of writing a prompt. So I'm going to put in the chat a link to the website. Let me. Scroll super V. Darren, is the chat open to me?
Should be everybody should be able to use the chat. Yeah,
Is that a link? Can people click on that?
I think I may have to copy and paste it.
The link's appeared in the chat.
Yeah, I think you just need to copy and paste it. So maybe do that. Open up a separate web browser to then open it in a separate web browser.
that link working for people? Is that?
I've managed to copy and paste it, James, and it works. So, but I don't think they can click on it to open it, but they just need to copy and paste it.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
clicked on it and it's worked.
Thank you, then.
There we go. There's the link version. Sorry about that. So while you guys are doing that, I'm going to do a quick example on screen. Let me put up the framework here. So you want to put who you are, what you want, what it needs to know, how you want it back, and what not to do. A couple examples I came up with were emails, Facebook posts, thank you note, a to-do list.
I'm trying to have both on the screen, but it won't let me. It just reverts to one or the other.
Right. Okay.
Now I've got Zoom back on the screen, and now I've lost the ChatGPT page. Let's try it. Edit history. ChatGPT. Let's try that.
Any try that, Rhoda?
Are people having joy with that link? I can't see you at the moment with the presentation on the screen.
You have to crack on with things there, James. I think most people have got it. If not, we'll be sending out a recording of the presentation, so they can always try it in real time afterwards.
All right. Okay. We've included this in the PDF. There's a few examples. I really do encourage you guys to check it out. How are we doing for time, Darren?
Plenty of time.
Plenty of time. Great. So,
what I'm trying to do is, I thought we were trying to have two screens up so we could take some questions off there, but I can't have one without the other. Every time I go to ChatGPT, the screen cancels out. Is that what you were asking us to do?
Yeah, I was hoping that perhaps you could have both open on your screen. If that's not possible,
that's what I was trying to do. It cancels. I go up into the history, and then when I pick on the other one and I put new window, it still doesn't want to know about it.
Right. Okay. That sorry about that. That's a bit of a technical fault on my bad. If everyone's all right with that, is anyone else doing this?
Yeah.
And you're having joy?
Well, it's asking me to log in.
Yeah, mine's taken a long time to respond, and I think that might be for the same reason.
So
Right,
I've
okay.
asked for image generation.
I opened a new window, put in chatgpt.com, asked it a question, and it came straight back with suggestions.
Yes.
Great. Okay, so we've had some joy.
I did exactly that based on a 7-kilometer fun run, and it came back and gave me something, then wanted more detail on date, location, start time. I put that in, and it came back and gave it to me immediately. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I've got both on my screen now, but it didn't go through a link. I had to go back and make a new page and put it up through that way. So I've now got both on the screen.
Okay. All right.
Finally.
Lovely. Okay, we'll have 2 more minutes on this, and then we'll move on.
Hey folks, we are recording the session, fingers crossed. And what I'll do, I'll make sure that everybody here tonight, and also those who did register, who aren't here, get a copy of it. So if need be, you can always come back in for the recording in your own time and have a little play around over the weekend or over the coming week.
Yes. And we'll be sending out a PDF as well after this with some resources and some examples for everyone.
Okay, James, I think we'll move on now, I think.
All right. Okay. Thank you for indulging me. So we now know how to talk to AI. We've sent a few messages. Now, how do we stop explaining ourselves every time? Because we don't want to be telling it all the time, who you are, what you do. There are a few things that we don't want to change. And the way we do that is with a folder. So, do you remember how I said earlier it's worth setting up an account for a feature called the project feature? This is what it is. Let me show you on ChatGPT. So we're back here on ChatGPT. We've got our normal chat interface. Over on our left-hand side, we've got this feature called the projects feature. When I click on this, I can create a new project. So, for example, I could name this Santa Sleigh Collections. Or it could be Facebook posts. Or it could be Gmail. Whatever task you regularly do. So I'm going to go Santa Sleigh Collections. Okay, so what's happened? I've been moved from just a regular chat, which was here. If I click back here, this is just what happens when you load up ChatGPT. I'm not in my project at the moment. If I come over to the left-hand side, I've added a project, a new folder. And if I click on that, I get a very similar interface. But some things have changed. I've still got my chat window, I've still got my plus, I've still got my microphone from earlier. But my chats are now here, and I've got a new sources button. And I've got a share feature and 3 dots. If I click on these 3 dots, I can go into settings. And I've got a really important feature hidden away here in the settings. It's really badly placed in the app. I've got these things called instructions. And what instructions are things that the AI will read every time I enter a chat. So you remember how earlier we were saying that AI is like a WhatsApp chat? When you talk to it, it only knows what's in that chat. Instructions is like a seed you put into every WhatsApp chat. So I've got a little set of instructions I've wrote, which I can't copy paste. Sorry, which I can't copy paste. My copy paste seems to be dubious today. Technology. There we go. Okay, so the goal of this is Santa Sleigh Collections. So I've told it about Plymouth Rotary Club, who we are. We're a small club in North Devon, what I plan to use this project for. So I'm going to be sending emails to supermarkets, volunteers, and members here. And in it, I already pre-tell it how I want emails to be written. So I say I want all emails written in plain one British English, short sentences. You know, I end every email with kind regards, things you don't change. So if I click save, now when I talk to AI in my project feature and I say, hey, write me an email, it ends every name with kind regards. It inserts the name here. It speaks in plain British English. And I didn't have to tell it to do that because I wrote it once. Here are my instructions. And it follows these instructions. It's the same as, say, let's see my copy. It's the same as going to a new chat and saying, pasting that set of instructions, and then on the end saying, hey, write me an email. But one is a lot more convenient than the other. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm seeing scratching heads.
It makes reasonable sense. Our problem is, of course, that the screen is too small for us to actually appreciate some of the stuff you're doing. Oh, that's not your fault. It's just old age.
Sorry, can I zoom in? Guys?
You can spread it a bit with your fingers if you use 2 fingers.
Has everyone got the general idea, even if they can't read the exact text?
Basically, you're saying you can set your parameters, and then each time you want to ask a question on you've made your file or your project, you set the parameters within that project. If you want to ask it to do, you go into your project and then use your what you want button.
Exactly.
From there, not on the original page.
Yes, not on the original page.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
I've got a question. If a number, excuse me, if a number of Rotary clubs were using this in preparation for Santa Sleigh's collections at Christmas, and each club mentioned a different date, could you ask a question and get a report showing X club is doing it on the 15th, Y club is doing it on the 16th, Z club is doing it on the 17th?
You could do exactly that. That's a great idea. And that's the exact attitude I want.
How are you suggesting to access that? Are you saying?
Well, you'd ask if I listen to James correctly, because AI knows everything. If you've asked a part of what you give to AI for it to answer your question, it goes and finds out all the information related to Santa Sleigh collections in Plymouth in December. And it will. And would I be right in thinking that it could bring that back to you as a response to your question?
So slight. I think I misdelivered slightly when I said it knows all information. So what I meant to say was that, okay, so it has read a lot of Wikipedia articles and read a lot of books. Imagine someone who'd read 1,000 books and 1,000 Wikipedia pages, but knew nothing about you personally. It might know that Rotary exists as an organization, but it doesn't know anything personal about you. And it doesn't know anything recent. So it doesn't know anything about what's happened in the last 4 months.
Okay.
So you were asking the question, if you put that, it would mean the other clubs would had to put the question in with that date, but then that would mean that information is carried over to someone else, which is
That's correct.
that's
That's
not
my
what's supposed to
assumption.
happen.
Well, I know it's not supposed to happen, but the fact that AI and Google, Microsoft, they've all siphoned off all the news, they must have that somewhere and be retrievable. So my thought is that we as independent Rotary clubs provide information, and we've got the district governor here. If we all inputted our activity schedule for the next 3 months, Darren could say, give me a running schedule of the next 3 months of activity by a Rotary club in a geographic distance from Plymouth. Now, James, would that work?
That is a great question. I think I will answer it later, if that's okay. I just need to get through a couple more slides, and then we'll take time for questions. We're nearly done on new information. All we've got to talk about is, all that's left is a couple of rules, and then we'll do questions. And we can go back over anything that I didn't explain very well. So there are two main rules that we need to follow when we're using AI, and Darren mentioned them earlier. They're a bit blanket, they're a bit vague, but they work for most things. So if you would not put any information on a club notice board, if you would not put it in public, don't pin it. Don't type it in. And like before, Darren said, a human needs to check every fact, name, number, and logo, which Darren already covered. So that's about it for new information. All right. Let's do questions. I'm sorry, things got a bit lost, I think, around about that. I could tell people were getting confused, so please shoot some questions my way.
Okay, let's go back to my question.
Okay.
Various clubs put into AI
okay.
that they have various.
Can I answer this? Can I answer this for you? I understand the question you're raising. Just going back to what James said at the beginning, you're having a private conversation with ChatGPT. Nobody else can hear that conversation. If you give information to ChatGPT on that basis, other clubs don't have access to it. However, if the other clubs publicize the information about their Christmas activities on their websites, on their social media or whatever, ChatGPT is capable of picking that up, and it will collate that information and feed it back to you if you ask a question. Does that help?
Yeah, so you're saying it's looking into open source information that's available.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just say exactly the same as John. So I was going to say exactly the same as John just said. But I think if clubs actually publicise this stuff on their club website, if it goes onto the district website, then AI can pick it up through that, because it will basically search open source sort of websites, etc.
So you might need to, I guess, refine the search by saying, please look at all Rotary Club social media and website posts within Devon and Cornwall.
Yeah, good idea. Although it'll probably take that initiative itself. It's very bright.
Yeah.
But what we're saying is that just talking to ChatGPT about your plans will not be available to other clubs to see.
Okay.
Right, that was what I was concerned with the original question, that the ChatGPT is completely one-to-one.
Yeah.
The fact that several Rotary clubs have asked the same question doesn't mean they're cross-referenced.
It's got a phenomenal memory as well.
Yeah, but they're not cross-referenced.
You could have had a conversation with it on a similar line, on a similar basis months ago, and it'll remember that conversation, and it'll pick up where you left off.
The conversation that you had with it, it doesn't cross-reference to the question that was made by another.
No, it can't. No, you're working in silos.
Yes. Fine.
It can't.
Thank you.
It can't do that, thankfully.
You go on one. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, you can probably tell I use ChatGPT a lot. I probably use it half a dozen times a day for silly, trivial things. And once or twice a week, I used it for some serious work, quite often analysing papers, often doing draft responses, just taking a Rotary example, not a Rotary example, sorry, I'm getting change hats. I'm trustee of the Friends of Penley Gallery here in Penzance, and we want to commission a new website. So the first thing we wanted to do was put out an invitation to quote to a number of web designers, and ChatGPT helped us tremendously in preparing that invitation to quote. When the invitations to quote came in, it helped us analyze them very, very quickly, and it helped us. We're now at the pre-contract stage with a particular designer, and it's helping us really look closely at the terms of that contract before we agree to anything. So, each of those stages would have taken days, certainly hours, if not days, to prepare. And you can do them in minutes, if not hours. It's phenomenal.
Fantastic, John. I just want to raise something that's been put in the chat by Colin. It's a great point. If you want to know how to do something with ChatGPT, you can ask ChatGPT. That's a great way to learn how to use these tools.
I say just go and try it and learn. It's like so many things. Just sign into ChatGPT. You don't need to open an account initially if you don't want to, but just sign into ChatGPT and experiment. Be wary of what information you give, obviously. But as I say, you're speaking to it in a silo. It won't automatically share that information. But yes, you can use it to design flyers and posters. You can use it to do detailed analysis. You can use it in your financial preparations. It's limitless.
I find that it will only let me do so much, and then it'll ask me to join. It'll answer a couple of questions, and then it will.
I pay a subscription. It's less than £20 a month. Now, if you're not going to use it much, that's probably a waste of money.
But I thought James was saying to sign up was free.
To get an account is free.
You can open an account, yes, but as you've discovered, there's a limit to how much it will work with you until you pay a sub.
There had to be a catch somewhere.
Yeah, my sub's just, I think it's just under £20 a month. The value I get out of it is worth far more than that, I think.
I think to help Rhoda with like image creations, etc. I think if you've got a free account, I think ChatGPT lets you do 5 in any sort of 24-hour period.
Yeah, I did an experiment last week after talking to Claire, and did a recording of a meeting which texted. And it was just gobbledygook because I didn't know who'd spoken or whatever. So I actually copied and pasted into ChatGPT and said, please make sense of this. And they came and they did sort it out. But the next question I couldn't do, it said, no, got to join up. But yes, it helped me out with that.
This is a slight change of subject, but are other clubs using minute takers in their meetings? Online minute takers?
Well, that was what I was after. I
could tell.
I just used notes and pressed the record. So I used my notes.
We've been experimenting with it, and one of the first things you need to do at the beginning is for each person to speak and introduce themselves. Otherwise, yes, it can get.
Yeah, it was a lesson, but I thought I'd give it a try. But my biggest problem was that.
I think in a year's time we'll all be using it automatically.
So are you looking at a particular application?
We've used one or two, and actually I haven't been the person using them. Our incoming president
Right, so
is into that kind of thing. And
off the subject, but just if you knew, that was fine. That's
yes,
fine. I will
time saving.
persist.
Any more questions, mate? No. Well, the time is 8 o'clock. We've gone on for about an hour. I was going to show you a little trick, but I think most of you have seen it already. There's an AI video with a couple in America did using some old photographs of Paul Harrison, the founding farmers of Rotary, but I won't share that tonight. I think you can pretty much most of you can find that online. But what I will say is a massive great thank you all for giving up an hour of your time this evening for this session. Also, a massive great thanks to James. It's probably one of the first sessions he's done like this. Two Rotarians. Like I say, he approached me at the end of the Rider dinner to put forward doing this. So thank you very much for doing this, James. It's been a massive great help. And what James has actually also said to me is he's actually been developing some AI tools himself. So if any of you guys want to have a more in-depth one-to-one session with him, I will circulate his details, or you can go via myself and I can pass them on. And James is willing to have a one-to-one session with you online to look into some more sort of further in-depth details once you've had a chance to play around with these basic stuff.
Just one question: you were going to follow up this meeting with the PDF or a PowerPoint or something?
There's going to be a PDF and also the video recording, and if possible, we'll try and send both sets of slides as well. But I think James also has a Google Doc that I think he'd like everyone to complete.
Yes. So this is my first time doing an online Zoom with some technical issues and with some at fault, and I really appreciate some feedback on how I can get better at this. If there's anything I didn't explain very well, details I glossed over, points where you get lost, I would really appreciate that. So the next time it can be even better.
That's brilliant. Right, everyone, thank you all ever so much. Hopefully, I'll leave you on the screen for a minute so you get a chance to copy the Google Doc link that James has provided. Thank you all ever so much, and see you all soon.
Sorry, Darren, I didn't catch that. I
was just saying I was going to leave the screen on. I was going to leave the meeting open for a minute, so just so you get a chance to copy the link that James put in the chat. There's a Google document that he's put there just as he did explain to detail what your sort of knowledge of.
Sorry, it's very. I'm having a bit of trouble taking your speech in. It's not a question of not hearing; it's enunciation. I'm sorry.
Yeah. James has put a Google Doc in the chat, which he'd like everyone to complete. So if you go to the chat, there's a link that he's put there.
Okay, so fine. That's fine. Now with you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you very much, James. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you all ever so much. I think you all got that now. So thank you all ever so much. Have a great weekend, and see you all soon.
Thank you.